This video will set you free. You see, we live in a reality, a construct that is completely made up of our ideas, our beliefs, our thoughts. Think of it like a bubble, right? Like a bubble that we live in that separates us from the truth. When you see people living in their own little world, this is what I mean. Except we all live in our own little world. As spiritual teacher Muji once said, there is one earth, but billions of worlds. Every person has their own unique interpretation of reality. And you either live in a habitable world or one that is inhabitable. One that can sustain life or one that destroys it. And so the first thing we must do is to recognize the parts of our life that aren't really going the way we want them to. The things that we experience that are unfavorable to us or that cause suffering. And we have to see where in this construct of our mind are we going wrong? What aspect of ourself is creating this suffering? Now you might say, that's pretty messed up, man. You're saying that I'm the cause for all of these bad things that happen to me? Well, it might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility nonetheless. Your reality is yours to choose, however way you want. And so you see, the world, the system, the construct, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, it has a narrative that it wants you to believe. It has ideas. It feeds you a story about the way that the world is. And so if you believe that story, that is the world you will be living in as a slave to a society, to a world whose only purpose is power and control, to keep you in illusion and to steal your energy until you die, to make you sick and then sell you the cure, so that every step of the way they're squeezing you dry. And yet at any moment you can realize that you don't have to live in that world. You can hop in your spaceship and go and fly to a different one. And you see, people who are more pragmatic or logical, they take the sense data that they're experiencing, these are the facts of my reality, and then they paint a picture of the world out of that. But if you focus only on what is, then you can only create more of that, because our mind is a tool that directs our creative power. And so whatever we focus on, that is what we will create more of. And so do you not have the control to focus your attention in whichever which way you like? You don't have to believe any stories. You don't have to believe that life is a certain way. You don't have to believe that people are certain ways. You see, because whether or not we realize it, we are always co-creating our reality. With our assumptions, with our expectations, and with the stories in our mind. All of this information is used to build the construct of our own world. You see, but I am not necessarily a world builder, but rather I am a destroyer of worlds. Because so long as you are living in a solid world, a solid construct of your own making, you are stuck there. You remain a slave to something. But the moment that you destroy it all, you become free. And then you can build any world that you want. You see, we do not know what is truth or what is our own conditioning. What is actually objective versus our own subjective interpretation of reality. And so you see, by reducing my world to zero, I have begun to see that much more clearly. Because there is so much less nonsense getting in the way of my perception. And so I can experience freedom from ideas and beliefs. I can see the way my thoughts construct the world, and I can say, I do not want these thoughts, or yes, these thoughts make me feel good, so let's have more of them. And piece by piece, you can start building a more prosperous world, a more loving and harmonious one. But it all begins in here. You see, but when we're focused on the 3D reality, yes, this is the real world. I have bills to pay, and I have to go and get groceries, and the gas prices, and the presidential elections, and all the suffering in the world. You see, you have the most valuable resource in existence, and they want to steal it from you, and that is your energy. The whole system is designed to steal your energy, and if you don't snap out of this illusion, then the world will take everything from you. It's the difference between being at the effect of your reality versus being at the cause. Reality happening to you versus reality happening from you. From being an unconscious slave to being a conscious creator. You see, if we are suffering miserably, it is because we have been conditioned into a world of slavery. Because you cannot be free and be at peace and be suffering all the time. It is because we have constructed a world that we do not want to live in. And if you want to change the 3D world, well, the 3D world is nothing but a reflection of what is within. So the moment that the collective begins changing the state of their consciousness is the moment that we don't need to live in a cruel world where people take advantage of each other, where we have systems designed to use and abuse the people. It is only because we are a slave to our minds that we are a slave to any kind of system. And that is how the system works. It enslaves your mind, and then everything else is done automatically. It doesn't even have to try. It doesn't have to do anything. It just has to get you to buy into the fear or buy into the story in general. And once you believe the story, you feed it your energy, and you become like a battery in the Matrix, fueling this beast with the most valuable resource in existence. Never for one moment questioning the reality that you're living in. And you see, the moment you recognize your true power and you take your power back, no person, no experience, no circumstance ever has any power over you again. Nothing has any power over you. You can only give it your power through your belief. And you get to choose what you believe in. What story are you going to feed? You see, because the universe is perfectly balanced between negativity and positivity. There's good and bad in all things. It's not about what is true. It's about what you choose to focus on. It's not always about facts. Sometimes it's about beliefs. Because regardless of what the facts are, your beliefs will always shape the way you see the world. And it will shape the way you see the facts. Nobody looks at the world from an objective scientific point of view. So watch yourself on a daily basis. Watch the stories that you tell yourself, the words that you speak, and the thoughts that you think. And just become more aware and realize how every thought is influencing this world that you're living in. And you pinpoint the parts of your life that you don't want to live anymore. And you simply pluck the negativity out of your life. Or you could do what I do and just be empty, be nothing, be free. And in that clarity, you will know what you want and you will know exactly what you don't want. But until then, you don't know whether or not things are your own selfish ego desires, or if that's what your soul is calling you to do. I like to think about it as if you were a house. Sometimes all you need to improve is to paint the walls, maybe to patch up a few holes, maybe to freshen up the bathroom. But some people, the whole foundation is rotting. The roof is caving in. There's termites. Sometimes it's better just to demolish the whole house. And from that place of nothingness, you can build anything. But so long as you are stuck in a specific way, you cannot really act outside of that. And you might say, well, how do I be empty? How can I live life from this place of nothingness? And I say, if you listen closely, if you really look, you can see that there is always silence all around you, no matter what. But when there is noise, we focus on the noise and we can't really hear the silence. And so our whole lives we have been conditioned to look at noise. And in the same way, our mind is filled with noise, filled with stories and ideas and beliefs and all that jazz. And yet, if you look, there is an ever-present silence, emptiness, an inner spaciousness in which there are no ideas, no stories, no beliefs. Because in truth, if you were to close your eyes right now and try to find those beliefs, you couldn't find them. They only appear when you're out living your life and you remember. They're nothing but memories. When you pay attention to this inner spaciousness, this inner silence, thoughts will come and you will see your unconscious beliefs. You will see things rise to the surface. And because you are not so involved, because you are not so attached to any identity, because you're just being present, you're just being here now, there is great clarity. And when you have clarity, you can be aware of any problems, you can be aware of any negativity, and you can change. But until you're aware of it, you can't change a problem. You can be suffering all the time, every day, and not know why. So find this emptiness, this inner spaciousness, and see if you can remain in this space. Because in this space there is freedom, and you have the power to create any reality that you desire, regardless of your external circumstances. Because this God essence that you are, your true nature, is the infinite power of creation, which means that you are already beyond all limitations, and that all suffering, all problems, all struggles are self-imposed because of the ideas, the stories, and the beliefs that we choose to feed.